Hi everybody, how's it going today? Thanks for watching another video. We're at Cows Co here today, working beside this dairy barn. So this the family that used to live on this property here, they milked cows quite a long time ago, 30 years ago I think at least, the last time cows were milked here. So it was actually a fairly large farm for its time. There used to be a freestall barn out the back here where we've got that water trough. We've got some heifers in the pasture here now, 30 pregnant heifers. But the dairy barn, that freestall barn blew down at some point or fell down with snow maybe. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the original dairy barn here is still in really good shape. As you can see, it had been re-sided at some point, and we re-shingled it when my sister and brother-in-law bought the property. The reason we're doing some work here is this is the milk house, or used to be the milk house where the milk tank was, and they actually converted that into an on-farm store. So I can't get in there now because we've got the door taped off because we're going to pour some concrete. We don't want the splatter to get on the door, but when we strip this concrete, I'll take you guys in there and show you. They've got some freezers, fridges in there, and some other things that you can purchase. But there's some old concrete in front of the doors here. We tore that out, so we're going to pour this around the silo here this morning, and maybe a little bit on the back there, depending on. I wanted to make sure we had enough concrete for this, and it's kind of hard to measure around that silo exactly what we need. So I ordered extra, and we'll use the extra on the back if we need to. We're going to pour this, and then where I'm standing here, we're pouring this all the way to the back. After that, that'll be it's Thursday today. We'll probably strip this tomorrow, get this ready, and then Monday's a holiday, so Tuesday we're pouring this other stretch here. There's actually another concrete crew pouring concrete in front of that yellow building, and the plan was actually for him to do this also, but he didn't think he was going to have time, so they asked us if we could do it. So that's why we're here. Just waiting for the concrete truck. It's 9 o'clock now. They're supposed to be here at 9. So they should be here anytime. Will be a little bit challenging to get this done around the back here because we're going to have to pretty much finish it as we're pouring it, because we're not going to be able to get back in there anymore. And also getting the height right here, a little bit difficult because the door is actually the same height as this concrete on the silo, but this concrete has settled over the years, so I want to try to go over top of that a little bit, but we still need that water to go that way. I think I've kind of got to figure out how I want to do it. So hopefully it works out that the water doesn't run into the building. Sam and Juan are with me here. My dad's coming, and Jose Luis should be coming also here shortly when they're done with a few things that they're doing at the dairy, and then we'll get started here hopefully. Shouldn't be too bad. It's just order 8 yards for this. I don't think we should need more than 6 or 7 for around the silo here. So we'll update you once we're done with this little pour here, and then I'll show you guys the inside of this on-farm store here. It's actually an honor system, so you can use your card, cash or check. You pick out your products, total it up, and put the money in the deposit, or use the swipe. It's got some instructions there. Yeah, we'll show you guys when we get in there. It's afternoon here now. We've got a manure pump. We had noticed, or Jose Luis and Refugio noticed, that there was something wrong with it when they were cleaning by the heifers here. Yesterday morning already they thought something was off, and then this morning we confirmed that there was an issue with the pump here. We pulled it out of the pit in our heifer barn. So actually the bolts, where's this piece? Right here. The bolts that bolt this piece to the bearing, they were completely worn through, and this housing had come loose. So we took the bottom housing off, took the impeller off, which was quite difficult to get off. We had to use a sledgehammer because it's threaded on, and as it pumps it keeps the threads tight, and we haven't had this pump out in probably a year and a half at least, and it runs every day. So we did get it off. Now we're going to take the bearing off because we're going to replace everything down there. Bearing assembly, the housing, and the impeller. Jose, Luis, and Sam are working on that now. I was surprised there's a hole in this top housing, and their bottom housing even had some pretty good wear on it also. So this pump doesn't handle sand like the ones do in our milking cow barns, so we don't bed with sand in here. There's still quite a bit of wear on these, and we smashed the crap out of the impeller trying to get it off, so we have to replace that anyways. And while you have it out, you might as well replace it all. Because if you don't, then you have to pull it out again in 2 months, because that's usually how it goes. So we'll get this one taken apart, put it back together, put it back in, and then we'll probably catch back up with you guys tomorrow back at the creamery. We're going to finish forming the second piece that we're going to pour over there, and we're going to strip what we poured here this morning. Got it pretty much put back together, just tightening up that bottom housing plate. Then we'll set it back in the pump, in the pit I mean. We didn't quite have the right bolts to bolt on the top impeller housing to the bearing, but I think it will work the way it is. And then we damaged there's a bolt that bolt that bearing to the pipe, and Sam hit one of them with the hammer and busted the threads. One that doesn't come out, that's just welded. But we were able to get a nut on it. We're not mechanics, just dairy farmers, and we need this pump at 4 o'clock and it's 3, so I have to make sure we got it back together so we could use it. Not sure what the deal is with those bolts, because I've got bolts for this on hand, but apparently they didn't send me the right ones, I guess. I don't know. They're supposed to be square heads so that they lock in, and we had Allen head ones, so they'll work, I think, at least for a while anyways. Got the pump back in the pit. Just gonna turn it back on here. We have to wait for some manure to be put into this pit before we could turn it back on. Just gonna turn them back on here. Check it out. A little bit of a vibration, we'll see if that goes away here after running it a little bit. Good to go for now anyways. Back the next day, stripping the concrete that we poured here yesterday. Got a couple forms off already here. Show you guys the back. But this stripped all turned out pretty good. We'll backfill this with dirt. We'll have to raise this up a little bit to match up to the concrete. And then we're gonna get this formed up today. Get rebar put in here today. It's Friday, I couldn't get concrete today. And Monday's a holiday. Monday's Labor Day, so we'll plan is to pour this on Tuesday if concrete ordered for 10:30. Looks like it all turned out pretty good. kind of rough looking back here, but it was really the only way we could do it. So we poured this a little bit thicker, and then we broomed it as we finished it and broomed it as we were backing out of here. And then out here we were able to finish it and broom it like we normally would. Turned out pretty good. So now we're inside the milk house here. This is where they have their on-farm store, open 7 days a week, just during the day when the sun's out essentially is when this is open. So we've got gelato, we've got ground beef from steers and heifers that we raised at the dairy for meat, and a lot of different kinds of gelato. Cheese, looks like they need to stock up on cheese curds. They've got young, mildly aged, extra old, and then they've got onion garlic in here, and then some other small things, some t-shirts you can purchase, and then you tally up your order over there. You can put the money or your check in the drop box, or you can use the little machine there. They have instructions on how to run that. It's fairly simple. So this is used to be the old milk house on this dairy, and the parlor was through the door here. The old parlor was through the door here. The pit's still there. I think it was a double 6 maybe. 6 on either side with a pit. But we'll continue outside, get this all formed up so that's ready to go for next week. Then we'll get that poured, and it sounds like we might pour a little bit over where the other guys are working, depending on how far they get. But if we do pour any more out here, I want to do it before we start on silage, so we'll be kind of cutting it close, I think. But we'll see. We'll see when we get that far. Got this pretty much ready here. Need to get a few more chairs from the farm, but otherwise we're ready to pour some concrete. We laid them at an angle here so we wouldn't have to cut every stick of rebar. Saved us a little time. Show you guys the heifers that are out here. They're all around the water fountain. It's a hot day today. It's mid-90s. They're all hanging out by the water. I think they'd rather be in the barn in the shade, away from all these flies. I think we're gonna have to spray them for flies out here. We've done that a couple times already this summer, but looks like we need to do it again. Hey girls. You hot? It's nice to have cattle outside in the pasture, but definitely for the cattle themselves, I think being in a barn 90% of the year, I think, is the best place for them. Too hot, too cold, too much sun, too many flies. We got flies at the dairy too, but not like out here. Just hard to control them out here because of all the grass and the trees. Just a lot of places for the flies to lay eggs. But I think I'll end the video here. If you guys have questions, comments, post them down below. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video.